come to New York.
You can't stop.
And
Of course you
Susan
can.
Taylor, who used to run Essence, she said she'll be there. I'm going to try to get Star
Okay, good,
Jones.
good.
Remember Star Jones from The Judge and from The View?
Yes.
They're
Yeah, I'm going to try to get a couple of notable people.
some
Yeah.
Yankees. And
You coming to the games? Any other games?
if I could, how could I sneak away?
Tonight, Boston. We should get together.
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to tell
can.
Meeks.
Yeah, I can. And Yvette,
Yeah.
you going to behave? Don't bring your cousin.
just kidding. How y'all doing in there?
He first came to Congress.
That's good. Let's wait for everybody.
I'm not smiling. You starting it?
Yeah. We're going to start right now.
Yeah.
All right, let's start. Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay.
Okay, that's a silly question. I have heels. That's right. Nice waterfall.
Last night, I'm Congressman Adriano Espaillat, chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Last night, President Trump proved that he's out of touch with the American people, that he's not taking the conversation about saving health care for millions of Americans seriously. In fact, he put out an insulting meme of our leader, showing that he's out of touch with the health care challenges of the American people. With your health care on the line, all he could do is put out this deep fake racist meme. Not funny at all. Not for any of us here, particularly for people that are ill and fighting for their lives, that need health care. But a reminder, we will continue the fight. We will make sure that we fight. We're here. We showed up at work.
That's right.
While the Republicans are out on their vacations, we're here at work to tell the American people that we take their health care needs seriously, and we will fight to ensure that these cuts, these deep cuts to Medicaid, this attempt to totally dismantle the ACA and lift the premiums, that we face it head on. And so that's why we're here, members of different caucuses within the House caucus, that we're here to tell the American people that we will try to prevent them from killing Obamacare. They went down even 90%. They went in the big ugly bill. They tried to eliminate it. This is our chance to now turn it back. And we will use every tool that we had available in our hands to ensure that we turn this back. If you don't stop them now, down the road, people will lose their health care. So we will make sure that we will use every tool available at our disposition to fight for the American people. This entire shutdown is based on a ridiculous Republican lie. Speaker Johnson and Vice President Vance have pulled this out their hat. They're saying that the undocumented will be eligible for this. A flat-out lie. To weaponize the immigration issue in this critical crossroad and debate. So we're here to say to the American people, they are lying. They are the majority in the House of Representatives. They are the majority in the Senate. They're running the White House. And some would argue they may be even running the Supreme Court. They're controlling every aspect of government. This is their shutdown. This is not our shutdown. This is their shutdown. So we're here to fight. Estamos aquí para defender el cuidado de salud del pueblo norteamericano. Los indocumentados no tienen el derecho a recibir los subsidios del ACA y queremos proteger a todos los americanos. Cerca de 20 millones de americanos pueden perder el cuidado de salud. Los republicanos se fugaron, se fueron de vacaciones y no están aquí. Nosotros los demócratas estamos aquí trabajando para proteger el cuidado de salud de cerca de 20 millones de americanos que puedan perder su Medicaid, que pueden ver el costo de la salud disparar agresivamente hacia arriba. Y todo esto está basado en una mentira del portavoz Johnson y del vicepresidente Vance, que dicen incorrectamente que los indocumentados son elegibles para este subsidio. Eso es mentira. Ellos son la mayoría. Eso es mentira. Mentira. Mentirosos. Entonces nosotros estamos aquí. Ellos son la mayoría en la Cámara de Representantes, son la mayoría en el Senado, tienen la Casa Blanca y algunos argumentan que también controlan la Corte Suprema. Ellos tienen control total del gobierno. Este cierre es el cierre de los republicanos, que va a impactar dramáticamente a cerca de 20 millones de americanos. With that, I give you the chair of the American Asian Pacific Caucus, Grace Meng.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng, chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or CAPAC. Thank you so much to Chairman Espaillat and to all of my colleagues today for your partnership. We are here today because President Trump and congressional Republicans have completely abdicated their responsibility to govern after creating on their own a healthcare crisis in this country. The Republican assault on healthcare is unlike anything we have seen before. They are single-handedly responsible for the largest cut to healthcare in U.S. history, a lifeline for 4.5 million Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, just so their billionaire donors could get their tax cut. And now Republicans are taking tax credits away that help everyday Americans in all of our districts afford health insurance. They are raising premiums for over 1.5 million people just in the AA-NHPI community alone. This is the reality of Trump's agenda. And the pain doesn't stop there. Hospitals, nursing homes, community-based health clinics are closing across America. It doesn't just affect the patients, it affects their families, local businesses, and our economy. Millions of people will experience dramatic increases in their healthcare premiums, co-pays, and deductibles. Medicare is facing a $536 billion cut because of the big, ugly bill. I'm not going to mince words. People will die because of the Republican assault on healthcare. Seniors won't be able to afford life-saving prescriptions. That's our grandparents. Families will forego treatment because they can't afford hospital bills. They created this crisis. Over 50% of AA-NHPI adults already report healthcare costs being the most difficult item to afford. Now, with less than 24 hours before a government shutdown, my Republican colleagues are nowhere to be found. Where are they? They're not here. They're on vacation. The truth is, Republicans could avert this shutdown if they chose to. Like Chairman Espaillat said, they control the House, they control the Senate, and they control the White House. But they're not even here. In 12 hours, it shuts down. They're refusing to do their jobs. Speaker Johnson canceled workdays and won't bring back House Republicans from their vacations. and Senate Republicans shot down a Democratic proposal that would lower health care costs for millions. Meanwhile, Democrats are and have been ready to come to the table to protect Americans' health care and keep our government open. Republicans created this crisis, and instead of meeting the needs of our constituents, they are playing political games with the paychecks, health care, and jobs of hardworking Americans. With that, I'd like to hand it over to our wonderful chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Yvette Clarke.
Good morning. And thank you all for joining us. I am Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and proud representative of New York's 9th Congressional District. I want to thank my colleagues, Rep. Adriano Espaillat, Rep. Grace Meng, Rep. Teresa Ledger Fernandez, Rep. Brad Schneider, Rep. Greg Kassar, and Rep. Becca Ballant for their leadership and presence here today. We are gathered today because we are in a crisis of the Republican Party's making. Right now, we are facing the most aggressive attack on health care in modern history, and with the largest Medicaid and Medicare cuts ever. Once again, Black communities will be hit the hardest. 1 in 5 Medicaid enrollees are Black. The cuts aren't just numbers on a page. They are life and death decisions for families already struggling to access affordable quality care. Medicare is also under threat. Republicans' One Big Ugly Law includes $536 billion in cuts and is already forcing hospitals, nursing homes, and clinics to close, especially in Black and underserved communities. Meanwhile, the Republicans refuse to extend the ACA premium tax credits, which is driving up health care costs and pushing coverage out of the reach for more and more Black families. And as if that weren't enough, critical medical research is being gutted, halting progress on diseases that disproportionately impact Black Americans, like heart disease, diabetes, and maternal health complications. As House Democratic Leader Jeffries and Senate Minority Leader Schumer made clear to President Trump in the Oval Office, health care is our red line. Let me be absolutely clear. The Congressional Black Caucus will not support a spending bill that rips health care away from millions while increasing the cost of living for working families. We will fight against these cruel, dangerous cuts to Medicaid and Medicare because our communities deserve quality, affordable care, not political games that put profits over people. Unfortunately, we've seen this kind of reckless brinksmanship from Donald Trump and Republicans before. In 2019, during the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, they held hundreds of thousands of federal workers hostage, including over 100,000 Black Americans, to fund a border wall the public didn't want. 1 in 5 federal workers is Black, and many were furloughed or forced to work without pay. Our communities paid the price. Now, with healthcare costs rising, Black unemployment increasing, we cannot afford more of this failed leadership. Over 300,000 Black women have left the workforce, and that's no coincidence. The Trump administration's attacks on federal jobs and DEI initiatives have led to widespread layoffs, hitting Black women in public service the hardest. So let's be very clear about what's at stake. A Trump-led government shutdown would devastate millions of Black families. The CBC will not support a partisan spending bill that slashes health care, guts federal jobs, and raises costs, all while targeting the very communities that keep this country running. We're here to fight for health care, economic justice, and the dignity of communities we serve. And to our Republican colleagues, enough is enough. Work with us on a bipartisan solution that protects people, not one that causes maximum harm. Let me thank you all, and let me just say that my colleague Adriano mentioned he called it meme, I'm going to call it meme, that was put out about our leader Jeffries. The juvenile behavior coming out of the White House should not be dignified by any Americans. We are here to do serious work on behalf of the American people. We understand what is at stake, and that the White House would have the nerve to put out such racist, bigoted memes. It is just indicative of what they feel about the American people. They can toy with us, they can play with us, but we're not going for that. We're not going to be distracted. We're going to fight, and we're going to win. I now yield to Congresswoman Teresa Leger Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair Clark. I'm Teresa Leger Fernandez, and I represent the beautifully diverse 3rd Congressional District of New Mexico, and I am the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, and we are 96 women strong. And when the Speaker gets around to having Adelita join us, we're going to be 97 women strong, historic. Yes. We need a swearing Adelita Grijalva today. Yes. Now, ahora sí. You know, look at us, look at the caucuses that are represented here today. We actually represent not only the diversity and beauty that is the Democratic Caucus, but we represent America. This is what America looks like. And I need to tell you that America is worried. That's right. And on behalf of the women of America, they are terrified. And they have been telling us their stories ever since Trump got in office. Because American women cannot afford Trump. American women are not safe under Trump. And American women and their children and their loved ones may die because of the positions and the choices that Trump and Republicans are, because of the choices that Republicans and Trump are making about the health care of American women. And we are here to say we will not vote for your choices, because there is a different way. We can have a funding bill that funds the government and at the same time cancel the costs, lower the cost, cancel the cuts, and save our health care. Yes. We know that a government shutdown hits women and families the hardest because women are a majority of the federal workforce. But it's also true that women rely on the Affordable Health Care Act to make sure their families have health care, for prenatal care, and for medical emergencies. Listen, women work hard and are the key caregivers in their families. When there is a crisis at their house with their families, what do? They stick with it until they solve it. Yes. Republicans, we have a health care crisis, and what did they do? They fled town. Yes. They do not care about their voters. And that's the difference. I think we see America, every part of America, whether it's blue America, red America, rural America, urban America, every part of America as part of our family. And so we're going to do everything we can to solve this crisis that our family is facing. And right now, we need to call the Republicans fleeing their responsibility shameful. It is a shame what they are doing. And what we call it in Spanish, I always say this, one of the worst insults you can give somebody in Spanish is to say they are without shame, because it means they are without values and without moral. And right now they are sin vergüenzas. They are without shame, those Republicans, sin vergüenzas. And you know what? The biggest sin vergüenza, the biggest person without shame is President Trump. Because he has been pushing for this shutdown for weeks. He said, let's have a shutdown. Let's make sure that we shut out Democrats in this process. I don't think a White House meeting would be useful or productive. And then he said, when he looked at the demands, and the demands were about protecting health care, he then said we could go ourselves. Well, we're not going to do that. Instead, we are going to demand the health care that Americans deserve.
That's right.
And then what does that shameful man do? After a meeting where you're supposed to be working out details, where you're supposed to be negotiating a deal, you post something that draws a sombrero and a mustache on the leader with whom you're supposed to be negotiating. That's not how you get to a deal. That looks like a little 6-year-old having a temper tantrum.
That's right.
That looks like a little 6-year-old that any mother would be ashamed of their child doing that. But while America's health care is in crisis, Trump is doodling. Once again, what is it called? Sin vergüenza. It is without shame. And the thing is, if it were just a misbehaving boy, and sometimes boys will be boys, I have several of them myself, right? It would be one thing, but he is the president of the United States, and people are going to die because of the choices they are making. We know there are about 55,000 people who will die premature deaths because of what they did in the big ugly bill that's now a big ugly law. We know that there is about another 8,000 people who will die if we let those Affordable Care Act subsidies skyrocket, because people will drop their coverage, and if they don't have coverage, what will they do with an emergency if they don't have coverage? I had a friend come up to me, a woman in New Mexico, and she said, my brother lost his health insurance coverage. He couldn't afford the inhaler. He died because he couldn't afford an inhaler. He gasped for breath. And there will be many more like that. And that's what we are trying to avoid. And I really, really implore our Republicans to come back to Congress, to come back from your vacation, to be here and stand with your voters. Don't be afraid of President Trump. And I need to tell you, we all hear it from our Republican colleagues. They agree with us. In fact, we heard yesterday that Thune said we need to address the Affordable Care Act issue, but just not now. Well, now is the time. Ahora es cuando. Now is the time. We need to address it now. We need to address it now. And I need to tell you, the Democratic Women's Caucus, who represents women across America, whether we are your representatives or not, we are looking out for your interests. And everybody here today is looking out for the interests of every American in every corner of this great country of ours. And we are going to work hard to protect your health care, to lower your premiums, because we need to be able to live in an America that keeps us all healthy. And I now want to recognize the new Democrat coalition, the new Dem chair, Brad Scheider.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let me start by saying I am proud to be part of a Democratic caucus 217 strong who are here in Washington today to work for the American people. And I am proud to chair the new Democrat coalition. 116 of those 217 Democrats are members of the new Democrat coalition here to work on behalf of the American people. Now, everything that has been said needed to be said. And I'm going to say much of it again because it needs to be repeated again and again. The President and the Republicans are trying to divide us. We will not be divided.
That's right.
They're trying to scare us. We will not be bowed.
That's right.
We have a dual crisis. The cost of living for Americans is too high in a country that's the richest country in the world. We need to fix that. And healthcare is out of reach for too many Americans. We need to fix that. And that's why we're here. I am proud to stand here today alongside my fellow caucus chairs, sending a message. First, to the American people. We're here fighting for you.
That's right.
And second, for my Republican colleagues. Democrats are here ready to work while you're all taking an extended vacation.
That's right.
Come back from vacation.
We're here to protect Americans' health care and improve their lives. We're here to keep the government open. Democrats are on duty. Republicans are missing in action. We are 12 hours away from a shutdown. Let me repeat, the Democrats are on duty while the Republicans are missing in action. Our Republican colleagues have a choice. Work with us in good faith to put forward a bipartisan budget that meets the needs of the American people who are currently facing rising prices from Trump's tariff taxes and threats to their health care coverage from Republican cuts. Or go it alone and guarantee a shutdown. A Republican shutdown that will cause even more pain for the American people. We're here to find common ground and work together for Americans, for the American people. We're here fighting for health care and to make living more affordable. But the Republicans, quote unquote, are gone. And their quote unquote clean CR is anything but. There is nothing clean about a bill that cuts $1 trillion from Medicaid and $500 billion, $500 billion from Medicare. The biggest cuts to Americans' health care in American history. That's right. There's nothing clean about a CR that takes meals away from school kids trying to learn the lessons they need to succeed in the 21st century. There's nothing clean about a CR that forces Americans to pay for health care, pay more for health care, or worse, makes health care completely out of reach. And there's nothing clean about a bill that allows President Trump and Russ Vought to continue to deny funds for pediatric cancer and other critical health care needs, or hold law enforcement hostage for months on end. The stakes could not be higher. 15 million Americans will be kicked off their health care. Medicaid will be cut by a staggering $1 trillion and Medicare by another $500 billion. Millions of Americans who rely on the Affordable Care Act will be pushed into debt or priced out of health care altogether. We face a dual crisis. Costs are too high and health care is unaffordable. Democrats are fighting to lower costs and protect Americans' health care. We're here. We're here now. We are here ready. We're here to work. But the Republicans are nowhere to be found. Our Republican colleagues need to put the American people above their own extreme agenda and come back to D.C. and work with the Democrats to get things done, to keep the government open for the American people. Thank you, and it's now my privilege.
They need to do their job.
They need to do their job. It is now my privilege to turn it over to my colleague, the chair of the Progressive Caucus, Greg Casar.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As you can see here from my colleagues and chairs of the other caucuses, that the American people are united. Whether you are left or right or center, black, white or brown, immigrant or native born, we all believe that you deserve dignity, you deserve affordable health care, and that billionaires don't need a tax cut.
That's right.
That's what unites us all. And we are ready, as Democrats, to keep the government open and to save your health care. But where in the world are our Republican colleagues? There's more mentions of Donald Trump in the Epstein files than there are House Republicans here in Washington, D.C. today. Those House Republicans are scattered all over the country. They're on vacation all over the world with their billionaire friends. Most working people in this country, if they escaped town, fled their job to go hang out with their rich buddies while there was a crisis, they would lose their jobs. And I think it's time to stop giving these Republican officials special treatment. If the government shuts down tomorrow, the media is going to ask, who's to blame? Who's to blame? Who's to blame for a shutdown? The party whose representatives aren't even in D.C. to keep it open. Who's to blame for a shutdown? The president who spent the weekend before this at a golf tournament. Who's to blame for a shutdown? The president who, after saying he would negotiate, his response was just posting a meme online that you'd expect from some anonymous, unhinged incel on the internet. The Republican approach to keeping the government open is best summed up with the old Simpsons quote, "They've tried nothing, and so now they're all out of ideas." Look, if you're watching at home, this talk of continuing resolutions and cloture may sound far away from your life. So I want to make clear what this is really about. Republicans have created and manufactured a healthcare crisis, starting right now. 15 million people about to lose their care. 20 million people about to have their health care premiums double. And everyone will suffer because all of this money Republicans are pulling out of the system to give to their donors will drive up costs and close hospitals and clinics. Those statistics can seem abstract. So think about one person you know, a loved one, a neighbor, a friend. Should they not be able to go to a doctor when they get sick so that billionaires can just pay less in taxes? Or think of your own family. What would you do if health care premiums doubled next year? What would your kids have to go without just to make ends meet, just so that Jeff Bezos can buy a fourth or a fifth yacht? Think of the doctors and nurses who have treated you when you needed it. Should their hospitals close just so Trump's friends can get richer? That is what this fight is really about. Democrats want to stop cuts to your health care. Democrats want to stand up for the rule of law. Republicans want to shut down the government so that they can take health care away from your family. I know a lot of Americans have felt in recent years that you don't always know what Democrats stand for, don't always know when Democrats are willing to stand up and fight. Well, today we provide an answer. This week, unlike the Republicans who have fled on vacation, Democrats are willing to stand up and fight so that your family has the basics that it needs, so that your family can go see a doctor, so that your family has safety and security and a government it can trust. That's what we're all about, and that's why we're united here today. Thank you all very much.
All right, great.
And now I'm proud to call up my friend and colleague, a co-chair of the Equality Caucus, Becca Balint.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you to everyone. I'm Becca Balint. I represent the great state of Vermont. I'm a co-chair of the Equality Caucus. And I am so proud to stand with my colleagues here today to protect health care, to demand that we keep the government open. We are a powerful coalition. That's right. We represent America. And we're here to speak with one voice. This is not a game. And we understand this. It's your health care on the line. And we're here united in our commitment from every corner of this country, from every community, to say, Republicans, you have a responsibility to show up for your people. And the fact that you're not here tells us everything that we need to know about you. You are not serious people. You are not committed people. You are not people dedicated to the people who sent you here. And today we are here to say to all of those Americans who are afraid of losing your health care, we are standing with you. We are here to do the job. And I need you to pay attention to who's not here.
That's right.
Who's not here?
That's right.
Republicans created this mess. A crisis that deeply impacts rural Americans, people of color, and the LGBTQ community. The reckless budget is going to take away health care from millions of Americans. My colleagues have already spoken to that. It will close rural hospitals, not just in my state of Vermont, but in every rural district across this country. And the Republicans who represent those rural districts, they know that. Which is why Lisa McClain, in the Republican conference yesterday, told her members, stop talking about health care. When you talk about health care as a Republican, you are losing. Think about that. Think about that. Now, I have to say, as a proud member of the LGBTQ community, I've heard Trump once again blaming trans people and perversely, absurdly, and dangerously blaming them for the government shutdown crisis. Not only is this a distraction, and this is what they do. They stick out the shiny object so you're not paying attention to who you should be angry at. That's right. It is once again a tactic for us to hate each other, to rage against each other. So we are not raging at the people who caused this mess. And that is Trump and the Republican conference behind me in the House. They created it. They are the ones that we should be raging out. And that's why we stand united in this coalition to say to Americans, pay attention to who caused the mess. That's the people who should be on the receiving end of your rage. This is about health care for all Americans. Whether we represent your districts or not, we're here for you, protecting your health care. Americans have told us over and over again, we want you to fight for health care. That's what we're doing today. Democrats are going to hold the line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Becca. Any questions? Back.
Obviously, it seems like we are going to have a good. What do you guys see as the path out if Republicans continue to not negotiate with Democrats? What's going to change?
We won't vote for anything that doesn't restore the cuts to Medicaid, that doesn't protect people that will be paying higher premiums. We won't mess around with America's health care. People that are sick that deserve to have a first quality health care system providing assistance to them in one of the most serious periods of their lives. Anybody else?
I mean, Republicans, I think the question is to ask Republicans, right? Because they're the ones who aren't here. They're the ones who aren't at the table. And they're the ones who can bring an end to this by negotiating with the Democrats. And as we pointed out, they already recognize that they have to fix some of this mess. They just don't want to do it right now, maybe later. But we're not going to trust them for maybe later. So it's when they're willing to come back and negotiate what they already recognize as a problem, that's the path out.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you so much. Thank you all. Great job.
Good job, brother.
Where's Dominic?
Becca, Greg.
Any new Dems? Any new Dems leaders? Any new Dem representative? No, you too. Everyone.
I like you, Dan.
We're taking a picture.
Come on, a
We
quick
lost
picture.
Brad.
We lost Brian.
Wait, let's use the poster.